So what can be done here? Well, here at home, there is now some hope. These are the questions that we had for Kentucky lawmakers today. As a mostly Republican-controlled state, what gun legislation would the GOP really consider? WHAS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez went across the river to southern Indiana for a unique perspective on what laws are working in the state of Indiana, a Republican-controlled state.
Well, Doug, the state of Indiana has had a red flag law in place for years now. In fact, it's seen by some as a national model for keeping guns out of the hands of those deemed dangerous to themselves and others. Now, one retired southern Indiana law enforcement official telling me today he can see the same benefit here in Kentucky. Former Floyd County, Indiana Sheriff Frank Loop saw the sense of urgency firsthand when Louisville suffered one of the nation's first mass shootings more than 30 years ago.
I was in training for critical incident debrief for first responders.
Now, in 2023, with 2 in a week's time, he notes there's a major problem.
It is a tragedy that so many lives have been affected.
In his experience leading the sheriff's department in Floyd County, Loop's seen a handful of cases where his officers have confiscated weapons from people deemed a threat to the public prior to them even committing a crime.
It's a mental health issue.
Under Indiana's red flag law, a judge can sign off on the seizure and hold of a gun as long as law enforcement can provide written evidence that the individual has a, quote, propensity for violent or suicidal conduct. That's based on their behavior.
I believe the last time it was revisited, it was after the FedEx shooting in Indianapolis.
Loop says there are clear benefits, but the proof can be complicated to get.
Sometimes family members give us the information that we can act on, but a lot of times they don't have all of the things that protect that person's rights.
Many have called for Kentucky lawmakers to consider passing a similar law. Republican Representative Jason Nemes telling us Monday it's not out of the question as long as it has the right protections.
If he has the opportunity to defend himself before his constitutional rights are taken away, I think that's something we can have a serious conversation about, and we are having that conversation.
Do you believe Kentucky would benefit from following a similar model?
Definitely, yeah.
And in Indiana, if a judge signs off on the warrant, police can hold on to the weapon as the case is litigated. If the courts eventually agree with the prosecutor's argument, the gun owner's name would be submitted to the FBI's background check database to prevent them from buying a gun in the future. Doug.